Hello, I'm Marcus.
I'm Josh.
I'm Nathan.
I'm George.
Today we're going to be talking about the Football Foundation. During the PowerPoint we're going to explain an overview of the Football Foundation, discuss the main priorities of the Foundation, describe a number of different funding schemes that are currently open, explain the funding partners, give some case studies from previous years from the schemes, give an application process and how they meet the government new plan for sport. So just a quick overview of the organisation. Football Foundation is the largest sports charity in the whole of the UK, and they are funded by the Premier League, the FA and the government, which is Sport England. They receive money from each of these organisations to improve grassroots football, and they, from the funding they get 30 million and they direct it straight into grassroots football every year to help develop it and improve young aspiring athletes. So the priorities of the Football Foundation. To improve facilities, and they do this by using the funding that they get from the Premier League and FA to build facilities for grassroots football to use. So players will get a benefit from this, as they will be using top standard equipment in high standard facilities. They create opportunities. They do this by using the funding that they receive to deliver coaching programs to the players. These programs are being created by the likes of the FA and the Premier League. Building communities is their last sort of mission. They put programs on to bring communities together and people from different backgrounds together so that people don't feel segregated in any communities. And the funding partners, the first one is Premier League. They work with them to achieve social outcomes, integrate pro clubs and players into wider and more ambitious community activities, set a good standard for community work, support clubs in utilising their assets more productively for community work and ensure they receive appropriate recognition, and they develop best practice in community projects. And the second one is the FA, which they maintain, improve and increase the stock of community accessible football facilities, retain the number of people who play and introduce new participants to the game. They also support the growth in football, more in groups which are underrepresented, introduce safe playing environments, and they continue to support 4 of the 7 themes of the FA's game strategy, which are growth and retention, raising standards, workforce development and facilities. And the final funding partner is the government, which will be Sport England. They aim to increase participation in sport and work with other agencies to produce sustainable multi-sports projects.
So the schemes that are currently open for application are the Premier League and the FA Facilities Fund, the Premier League and the FA Facilities Fund Small Grant Scheme and the Respect Scheme. The other post-award schemes are Grow the Game, Facility Scheme, Build the Game, Premier League Community Facilities Fund and the Mayor of London the Sports Facilities Fund. But today we're only going to talk about the first 3 which are currently open for application now. So the first one is the Premier League and the FA Facilities Fund. The fund is available to football clubs, schools, councils and local sports centres. The scheme provides funds to build and refurbish grassroots facilities, for example football pitches, changing rooms. They will provide £102 million for applicants to apply for over a 3-year commitment. The money, like Marcus said before, the money is provided by the Premier League, the FA and the government, being Sport England. And the fund was announced back in 2013, meaning this year is the final year for applicants to apply for this scheme. The projects that apply for the fund have to include the following: must improve football facilities and other sports facilities in the local community. No matter about age, gender, ethnicity, disability or background, the Football Foundation try to increase child and adult participation, and it also assists children and adults with their physical, mental and social through their participation in football. So So the grants, the maximum of this scheme you can apply for is £500,000 and the minimum is £10,000. So if a club want a smaller grant than £10,000, then they will have to apply for the small grant scheme, which I will go on to talk about in a second. And the applicants must provide a financial need for the grant. So the Premier League and the FA Facilities Fund small grant scheme, like I said on the last slide, can only apply for grants up to £10,000. So the difference between this one and the last one is this scheme is only for refurbishing and improving facilities, whereas the bigger scheme was building new facilities such as new football pitches and new changing rooms. Like I just said, then it's to improve existing facilities. It's to help the growth of football, the football clubs and the football activity. It's also to prevent and maintain participation from declining, and it's also improve facilities for health and safety reasons, so to make sure that the likes of goalposts are safe and they're not backdated, so they're not broken. The project's funding is given to clubs that improve like the following equipment, like I just said, new goalposts to make sure that they're not broken, so goalkeeper couldn't hurt themselves when diving. Floodlights, portable floodlights, so they can be moved about to different football pitches. Changing rooms, so they're not old, like they're not broken. There's nothing there so that can harm any of the participants. Maintenance equipment for the football pitches in order to keep the football pitches as good as they were when they first get built, and fences around the football pitches.
Right, now I'm going to talk to you about the Respect campaign. The Respect campaign was introduced to ensure that good behaviour was being taken by everyone involved in football. It tried to improve the dropout rate in football, because results in 2009 said that referees, there was up to 5,000 officials that dropped out of the game just due to the grief they got when refereeing, and also 7,000 youngsters stopped playing due to the pressure they were getting from the sidelines and lack of enjoyment. So the grassroots football leagues and clubs also ensure good behaviours by coaching and players. That's all.
No, keep going.
Right, okay, Respect campaign have introduced that kit can be produced for local football clubs and leagues in grassroots level. The kit consists of touchline barriers, pro barriers, captain armbands, parent and carers DVDs so they can watch How to Respect, players cards, sleeve badges, respect boards and a bundle of other stuff.
The Football Foundation decided to do a case study regarding participation. Just a quick introduction. One of the Foundation's key targets is to ensure a stable and consistent increase in the number of users at facility scheme funded sites. So this is measured in comparing like-for-like participation rates at Foundation funded facility sites between the 2013 and 14 and the 2014 and 15 seasons. These projects describe a valid and verified annual upshot monitoring and evaluation surveys in both seasons, which leads to a fair representation of the actual increase in participation. The key findings have been portrayed on the graph to the right. We can clearly see from this graph that increases in participation were much larger in females across all ages. Also, male participation decreases as they get older. Some key facts and figures include the 7% increase in football players at sites within their first 5 years, also boasted an extra 24,000 players. 23,425 coaches and volunteers ran activities at the site. There was an 8% increase in multi-sport users at the sites within the first 5 years. Also, there was a 5% increase in under 16 male football players. The most significant increase that there was under 16s football, which increased by 11.54%. That's female, which is an extra 867 players. They also decided to look into the ethnic breakdown of players at foundation sites. As a part of the whole case study, the Football Foundation thought it might be important to include an ethnic breakdown. To the right, they have devised a graph showing the ethnicity of players at all Football Foundation sites. Again, some key facts from the findings include 79,000 players who used facilities scheme sites during their 2014-15 season were of black, Asian and ethnic minorities, which is actually 19% of the whole players, which is an increase of 2% from the year before the 2013-14 season. This is an actual 5% increase in the same breakdown for the 2011 census.
Now I'm going to talk to you about the application process. If you were interested in applying for funding, there's a set process Football Foundation have set out you would have to go through. So the first stage, that you would submit your application form and upload all the relevant documents to the grant shop. Second stage is that your copy of your application is then sent off to the local county FA, for example in Lancashire, the Lancashire FA, to provide any comments. The application will be logged by the Football Foundation administration team. Then after that you will receive a confirmation email stating the Football Foundation reference number and the main point of contact for your project. The application will then be assessed and a decision will be made on your application. The decision process. The Football Foundation undertake a full assessment and produce a report on the application. They report to the project to the chair of the Premier League and then the Football Association Facilities Fund panel, and the Football Foundation's chief executive for the consideration, and you'll then find out if your application has been successful. So during this PowerPoint we have talked about the Football Foundation, how it is funded. We've talked about how the Football Foundation distributes its funding. We have given many examples, case studies from previous years of how participation rates have increased or decreased. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
There are some
Thank you.
references.